chosen one. If you are not walking the divine path, if your heart is not aligned with truth, if you are only here out of curiosity or entertainment, I am telling you right now, this message is not for you. Only God's true chosen ones should stay. Only those who feel the weight of spiritual purpose, the quiet pull of destiny, and the sacred responsibility placed on their soul will understand what is about to be revealed. If you are still here, then this message reached you at the exact moment heaven intended. Not earlier, not later, right on divine schedule. Chosen one. What I'm about to tell you has the power to shift how you see yourself, your journey, and your spiritual standing. This message carries something heavy, something rare, something that will make you realize why you have been feeling the intensity around your life lately. And let me be very direct with you today. What you did recently sent a shock through the heavenly realm itself. Even God was moved by it, and you need to understand why. Before we go deeper, I want you to comment only one number that your spirit connects with right now. 777. Let it be your silent confirmation that this message is truly yours. Also, subscribe to Spirit Guide, tap the bell, and share this message so the ones who are meant to hear it can receive it.
How your action sent a shock through the heavenly realm. Chosen one, you need to understand something that most people will never comprehend in their entire lifetime. Heaven does not react to every action humans make. Most people move through life in spiritual darkness, disconnected from divine alignment, unaware of the higher laws that govern spiritual cause and effect. But you are not most people. When you move, heaven pays attention. When you choose, the spiritual realm adjusts. And when you do something that even the angels did not expect, it creates a ripple that travels far beyond the physical world. Recently, you made a decision or took an action that came directly from a place inside you that you didn't even know was this powerful. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, it wasn't something the world celebrated. But spiritually, it was enormous. Heaven watches the inner movements more than outer actions, and something inside you shifted, awakened, or broke free, and the entire realm took notice. Let me speak plainly. There was a moment when you acted with such purity, courage, or obedience that even divine forces paused. Heaven is used to watching people hesitate. Heaven is used to watching people crumble when pressure increases. Heaven is used to watching people choose comfort over calling, fear over faith, shortcuts over integrity, and distraction over destiny. But you, chosen one, did something that went against every pattern the enemy expected from you. You shattered a cycle that was meant to hold you down, and that moment sent a shockwave through realms you cannot see. Understand this. Heaven is not shocked because God didn't know what you would do. God knows your heart better than you do. But heaven, meaning the watchers, the angels assigned to observe, protect, and record your journey, witnessed you rise in a way that disrupted everything that was scheduled against you. It was your unexpected spiritual maturity that caught them off guard. You made a move that belonged to someone far more seasoned, far more spiritually trained, far more developed in divine wisdom. Your obedience, your restraint, your courage, or your refusal to fall back into an old pattern created a spiritual thunder that echoed across the realm. That thunder was not noise, it was a statement. It was heaven acknowledging that you have stepped into a higher version of yourself, a version that even your past self would not fully recognize. Let me tell you exactly why the shock was so powerful. The enemy believed you were still vulnerable. The enemy believed you were still breakable in the same places you once were. The enemy assumed you would fall for the same temptation, the same emotional trap, the same familiar wound that has caught you for years. But when the moment came, when that test arrived disguised as something or someone from your past, you did not react the way they expected. You didn't fold, you didn't cling, you didn't return, you didn't chase, you didn't fear. You stepped into spiritual authority. And that shift forced heaven to witness something rare, a chosen one stepping into alignment without being pushed, without being threatened, without being corrected, without being rescued. You did it from your own awakened awareness. There are spiritual laws that govern transformation. When a chosen one reaches a certain threshold of growth, the spiritual realm has to recalibrate everything around them. That is what your action triggered. You disrupted old assignments. You cancelled spiritual contracts that were attempting to limit you. You stepped out of timelines that weren't meant for you. You activated new angelic protections. You invited divine authority into areas of your life where you once felt powerless. What you did sent a message into the realm. The chosen one has awakened. The chosen one has learned the lesson. The chosen one is no longer predictable. The chosen one has stepped out of the old identity. The chosen one will not be manipulated anymore. Heaven reacts differently to someone who finally understands their value. That is what you demonstrated. Without telling anyone, without announcing it, without making noise, you simply moved differently. And that movement was louder than 1,000 prayers uttered without understanding. Let me go even deeper. There are moments when heaven shifts an entire season because of one choice a chosen one makes. Your action signaled that you are no longer operating from your wounds, but from your wisdom. You are no longer acting from fear, but from clarity. You are no longer trying to survive, but to ascend. And that shift carries a vibration that angels respond to instantly. You must realize this. Angels are not moved by emotional reactions, but by spiritual authority. And what you did, whether you realize it or not, came from a place of divine authority. That is why heaven paused. That is why the realm adjusted. You acted as someone who knows they are chosen, not someone who is waiting for the world to validate them. There are 3 things heaven witnessed in your action. First, you closed a door that was spiritually dangerous for you. Not with anger, but with certainty. Not with confusion, but with clarity. That is maturity the divine realm respects. Second, you refused to let your emotions override your assignment. That is spiritual strength. That is growth. That is discipline. Third, you aligned with the version of yourself God always knew you could become. You stepped into your higher identity. This is why heaven reacted the way it did. Because your action was not small. It was not ordinary. It was not expected by those who underestimated your calling. Your action was a declaration that you are stepping deeper into your destiny. And when a chosen one steps forward with spiritual conviction, heaven must adjust the path ahead to match the level they have reached. The hidden reason God did not expect your move. Chosen one, listen closely, because this part of the message is where everything becomes clear. What happened in the spiritual realm wasn't simply surprise. It wasn't shock in the way humans experience shock. It was the kind of divine astonishment that happens when a soul steps into a version of itself that even the heavenly realm has been patiently waiting to see emerge. God knew your potential. God knew your destiny. God knew your capacity. But the moment you stepped into it without being forced, corrected, or pressured, that was the moment that changed everything. There is a hidden reason heaven did not expect your move in the way you made it. Not because God lacked knowledge of your capability, but because for so long your actions were restrained by wounds, self-doubt, emotional ties, fears, and patterns that were not aligned with your divine assignment. Heaven had seen you try before. Heaven had seen you reach for strength before. Heaven had seen you pray for clarity, for healing, for direction. But heaven had also witnessed the internal battles, the back and forth, the hesitations, the moments where you wanted to grow, but something inside you kept pulling you back. What shocked the heavenly realm was the suddenness of your shift. You moved with a clarity that came from deep spiritual awakening. You acted with a level of inner freedom that wasn't forced by pain, but chosen from wisdom. You stepped into maturity not because you were pushed, but because you finally recognized who you are. The realm did not expect your move because your past cycles suggested you would need more time, more healing, more experiences, or more guidance before reaching this point. But you did something divine. You evolved in silence. You grew when nobody was looking. You healed when nobody applauded you. You detached from weights that were never meant to be on your spirit. And you did it without announcing it to the world, without crying for validation, without begging for confirmation. Heaven witnessed the moment your spirit stopped negotiating with old versions of yourself. That is rare. Most people spend their lives arguing with their past, debating with their wounds, or seeking approval from the wrong places. But your soul made a leap that bypassed all of that. You reached a level of spiritual discernment that made you completely unpredictable to every force, good or evil, that had been studying you. This is why the realm didn't see it coming. Because you didn't fight your way into this new version of yourself. You transformed into it. Let me tell you the core truth. Heaven anticipated your greatness, but heaven did not anticipate the timing of your leap. In spiritual law, timing is everything. Destiny unfolds in phases, in layers, in seasons. Heaven had certain motions in place based on the version of you that existed even a few months ago. But then, without warning, you upgraded internally. You elevated spiritually. You shed old skin. You rose above attachments, illusions, and emotional traps that once held you back. And because of this, the realm had to realign everything instantly. Another hidden reason heaven did not expect your move is that you broke a generational pattern. You made a choice that nobody in your lineage had the courage to make. You walked away from something that enslaved others before you. You refused to repeat a cycle that was passed down like a silent inheritance. And when a chosen one breaks generational patterns ahead of divine schedule, the spiritual realm feels it deeply. It creates a shift that angels record, demons fear, and heaven acknowledges with reverence. Let me go deeper. Heaven expected your rise, but heaven did not expect the purity of your decision. Many rise in anger. Many rise in pride. Many rise in desperation. You rose in clarity. You rose in peace. You rose in truth. There is a difference. Heaven expected your strength, but heaven did not expect the softness of your strength. There is a maturity that comes when your power is no longer loud, when your energy is no longer reactionary, when your heart is no longer divided. And that is the version of you heaven did not foresee appearing this soon. Another reason heaven reacted with astonishment is that your action realigned your path in a way that accelerated your destiny. There were things scheduled for later seasons, blessings that were prepared for future chapters, interventions meant for a later time. But your spiritual growth moved so quickly that heaven had to shift the timeline. Your maturity pulled destiny forward. That is what divine shock looks like, heaven adjusting to your acceleration. Understand this deeply. Heaven expected your elevation, but heaven did not expect your surrender. True spiritual surrender is rare. It is the moment a chosen one stops wrestling with their assignment and fully steps into it. You stopped resisting who you are. You stopped arguing with your calling. You stopped negotiating with mediocrity. You stopped shrinking for people who never saw you clearly. And that level of internal agreement with your divine identity triggered a reaction across heaven. There is another reason God's realm acknowledged your action with such intensity. Your move disrupted demonic predictions. There are forces that study your patterns. They watch what triggers you, what distracts you, what weakens you, what tempts you. They expected you to respond according to your old self, but you surprised even them. You moved from a place of spiritual intelligence they had never witnessed in you before. This broke their calculations. It shattered their assumptions. It threw off their strategies. When a chosen one suddenly becomes unpredictable, heaven takes notice because unpredictability means freedom. It means the enemy has lost access to your emotional vulnerabilities. It means the enemy can no longer manipulate you using your past wounds. It means your spirit is now operating under divine influence, not flesh, not trauma, not insecurity. Heaven did not expect your move because you outgrew what was meant to limit you. You stepped out of a vibration that the enemy assumed you would stay trapped in. You rose above a mindset that your environment conditioned you into. You awakened from illusions you once believed in. And that awakening allowed you to make a choice that heaven recognized as a turning point in your destiny. Let me tell you something powerful. Heaven honors accelerated growth. When a chosen one develops faster than expected, heaven releases new resources, new protection, new guidance, and new assignments. Your action forced heaven to elevate the spiritual support around you. It shifted your ranking in the spiritual realm. It increased your authority. It deepened your favor. And it prepared the way for blessings that were waiting on the version of you that has just emerged. This is the hidden reason heaven did not expect your move. You stepped into divine timing before it reached you. You aligned with your future instead of your past. You acted from your soul, not from your fear. You chose what destiny required, not what comfort desired. And because of that, heaven had no choice but to respond. What your unexpected action activated in the spiritual dimension. Chosen one, what you did not only shock heaven. It activated systems, laws, movements, and divine technologies in the spiritual dimension that had been dormant, waiting, or restrained until you made that exact decision. You need to understand that every spiritual realm has protocols. Nothing moves without purpose. Nothing shifts without intention. Nothing manifests without alignment. And the moment you acted from your awakened identity, those protocols responded instantly. The first thing your action activated was a break in the spiritual grid that once surrounded your life. There were invisible limitations, silent restrictions, subtle forces that tried to keep you confined to a certain level of spiritual influence, emotional strength, and personal awareness. These were not always demonic in nature. Sometimes they were simply the boundaries set for a version of you that no longer exists. When you stepped out of that old version, those boundaries shattered. You broke the spiritual ceiling that had been hovering above you for years. Your action also triggered something called divine recalibration. This is when heaven reconfigures your path because you've matured faster than expected. Every chosen one has a divine timeline, specific moments where certain blessings, lessons, connections, and elevations are scheduled to unfold. Your sudden internal growth pulled your future closer to your present. Heaven had to accelerate processes that were originally positioned further down your destiny. What was meant to happen months or years later has now been pulled into motion. Let me go even deeper. When you made that unexpected move, you activated angelic deployment. Angels move according to divine instruction, but they also respond to spiritual resonance. When your spirit stepped into clarity, surrender, or obedience, it created a frequency that summoned higher-ranking angels to your side. These are not the angels assigned to your daily life. These are angels of transition, angels of breakthrough, angels of strategic covering. They come only when a chosen one crosses a major spiritual threshold. The spiritual dimension also registered your newfound authority. Authority is not given by words, emotions, or desires. It is given by alignment. And the moment you acted outside of your old patterns, your authority expanded. This expansion activated a shift in spiritual jurisdiction, meaning forces that once had access to you no longer do. You stepped into a higher level of spiritual protection, and with that shift, certain doors in the spiritual realm closed permanently. Chosen one, your action also awakened dormant spiritual gifts. Gifts are not just abilities, they are spiritual technologies embedded in the soul. Many of your gifts were waiting for emotional maturity, spiritual discipline, and internal clarity before activating. What you did signaled to the spiritual dimension that you are ready. You may begin to feel heightened intuition, deeper discernment, clearer dreams, increased sensitivity to spiritual energy, or more vivid signs. None of this is random, it is activation. You also triggered energetic reversal. This is powerful. Energetic reversal is when the energy that was once moving against you flips into motion for you. Every delay, setback, betrayal, confusion, or spiritual attack carries energy. When you stepped into your divine identity, the energy the enemy used against you lost its legal right to operate. And because energy cannot disappear, it transforms, it began shifting in your favor. This is why your atmosphere may feel different. This is why your spirit feels lighter. This is why certain burdens suddenly disappeared without explanation. That is reversal taking place. Your unexpected action also activated something heaven takes very seriously: divine witness recording. There are angelic beings assigned to record spiritual milestones. When a chosen one makes a major leap, heaven documents it. This documentation is not symbolic. It becomes part of your spiritual identity. It informs every future blessing, every elevation, every divine opportunity that will be crafted for you. Your leap has now been stamped into the archives of your destiny. Another activation you triggered is something only a few ever experience: the collapsing of harmful timelines. Before your decision, there were multiple possible outcomes for your life. Some led to delay, some led to heartbreak, some led to spiritual stagnation, some led to unnecessary suffering. But when you acted from wisdom instead of fear, heaven collapsed the timelines that were never meant for you. Now only the paths aligned with your divine purpose remain active. This is why confusion is leaving you. This is why you feel clarity developing. This is why you feel a new level of inner peace. Your future is becoming singular. Let's go even further. Your action activated the release of withheld blessings. Sometimes blessings do not appear because the vessel is not yet ready. Sometimes heaven holds them because giving them too soon would destroy the chosen one instead of elevating them. But your recent shift proved you have gained the emotional stability, spiritual insight, and mental discipline required to carry new responsibility. Heaven can now release what was being preserved for your maturity. Your decision also activated the silence of your enemies. Not in the physical sense. Some may still speak, gossip, plot, or assume. But spiritually, their influence has been muted. Their access has been denied. Their strategies have been dismantled. Their power over your emotions has been revoked. You are no longer spiritually reachable in the ways you once were. This is why some people suddenly appear confused about how to affect you. Their spiritual access was blocked. Chosen one, your move also triggered exposure. When a chosen one rises, hidden intentions around them begin to reveal themselves. People who were secretly against you will expose themselves. People who never supported you will distance themselves. People who pretended loyalty will show their true nature. This is not punishment. It is purification. The spiritual realm is aligning your circle with your elevation. Those who cannot walk with you into your next season are being removed. Another activation you triggered is called soul recalibration. This is when your spirit and your identity begin to merge. For so long, you lived beneath your spiritual identity. You felt the calling but didn't always step into its full expression. Now, your soul is catching up to who you truly are. This will bring a new sense of self-acceptance, new confidence, and new emotional grounding. You will feel anchored in ways you haven't before. Your action also awakened something heaven deeply values: the anointing of clarity. This is the rare ability to see through distractions, illusions, manipulation, temptation, and spiritual deception. You will begin noticing truths you once overlooked. You will feel a stronger separation from anything that is misaligned. You will sense divine warnings faster. You will move with discernment instead of habit. You also activated heavenly compensation. Everything you lost in previous seasons, years wasted, energy drained, relationships broken, opportunities stolen, has now been placed under divine restoration. Compensation is not merely replacement, it is multiplied return. Heaven is preparing to give back what was taken, but on a scale that aligns with your new spiritual ranking. And here is a powerful truth. Your action triggered the opening of sealed spiritual doors. There were blessings, connections, revelations, and opportunities that were sealed until you reached this exact point of growth. The seals have been broken. You may notice sudden changes, unexpected messages, new connections, open pathways, inner guidance, or breakthroughs appearing without effort. These are signs of activated spiritual pathways. Chosen one, your unexpected action activated something else the spiritual realm takes seriously: the awakening of your soul's authority over your destiny. You are no longer living reactively. You are no longer bending to circumstances. You are moving from purpose, awareness, and divine direction. That authority commands respect in the spiritual dimension. And let me add this with clarity. Your action also activated fear in the enemy camp, not because of what you did, but because of what your action revealed. You finally see yourself. You finally understand your value. You finally recognize your spiritual identity. And a chosen one who knows who they are is unstoppable. Lastly, your action activated the preparation phase of your next season. Heaven is not just responding to your leap, it is building your future around it. Plans are being restructured, paths are being adjusted, alignments are being created, resources are being summoned. Everything you need for your next level is now in motion because of the single moment you chose yourself, your growth, and your spiritual truth. You didn't just change your life, you changed your spiritual trajectory. And heaven is still recalibrating around the version of you that just awakened. The impact on those who underestimated or opposed you. Chosen one, what your unexpected action activated in the spiritual dimension did not only affect you, it sent a shockwave straight into the lives, minds, and spirits of the people who doubted you, opposed you, misread you, misjudged you, or quietly rooted against you. Whether they were aware of it or not, your movement shifted the atmosphere around them. Every person who ever underestimated your purpose felt the vibration of your rise, even if they cannot explain why. Some of them felt it as sudden discomfort. Some felt it as confusion. Some felt it as fear. Some felt it as a loss of control. And others, the ones spiritually sensitive enough, felt it as a warning. Your elevation created a reaction because those who opposed you were functioning under the assumption that you would remain predictable. They believed you would continue responding in familiar ways. They expected the same emotional patterns, the same vulnerabilities, the same wounds, the same hesitations, the same doubts. They knew the old version of you very well, and they counted on that version showing up forever. But when you made that unexpected move, you disrupted the identity they built in their minds. You stepped out of the role they silently assigned you, and now they are forced to rethink everything they believed about you. One of the first impacts your rise made is this. Those who underestimated you are now realizing they never truly knew your spiritual capacity. They saw your humility and mistook it for weakness. They saw your kindness and mistook it for naivety. They saw your silence and mistook it for lack of awareness. They saw your patience and assumed they had time to work against you. But what they failed to understand is that God hides the strength of His chosen ones until the appointed moment. Your recent action revealed the strength they never imagined you had, and this revelation is unsettling them. Another impact your elevation triggered is the exposure of hidden motives. When a chosen one rises, truth begins to surface. People who once smiled in your face may suddenly show distance. People who once acted supportive may become strangely cold. People who once seemed indifferent may become overly curious. This is not coincidence. Your rise has activated spiritual truth, and truth disrupts deception. The ones who opposed you in silence can no longer maintain their masks in your presence. Your energy has ascended beyond the frequency of their intentions, and their spirits cannot hide from what has been awakened in you. Your unexpected move also created a shift in your spiritual protection, and this has affected your opponents deeply. Previously, some individuals may have had access to your emotions, your vulnerabilities, or your energy. But when heaven elevated you, their access was revoked. They feel shut out now because spiritually they are. Your aura is no longer reachable to those who used to drain you, manipulate you, or guilt you. They cannot enter the places of your heart or mind they once penetrated. The door has closed, and heaven locked it behind you. This sudden spiritual disconnect has caused confusion in the lives of your opponents. They cannot understand why you no longer react the same way. They cannot understand why their words no longer affect you. They cannot understand why their energy cannot influence you. They cannot understand why the spiritual tactics they once used no longer work. Your rise has rendered their strategies powerless, and this powerlessness is confronting them in a way they have never experienced. Let me tell you something deeper. Your unexpected action did not only expose people outwardly, it exposed them inwardly. Some individuals are being forced to see their jealousy, their insecurity, their pride, their selfishness, or their resentment toward you. They are being confronted with their own hearts, and this confrontation is uncomfortable. Your rise has triggered self-awareness in those who once felt superior, controlling, or entitled. The spiritual shift you created is forcing them to see the truth about themselves. For others, your rise triggered fear. Not fear of you, but fear of what your growth means for their influence over you. Some people depended on your old wounds to maintain power. Some depended on your old insecurities to keep you low. Some depended on your old patterns to predict your moves. But when you broke free, their sense of control broke with it. They are now faced with a version of you that operates independently, confidently, and spiritually grounded. And this version cannot be controlled. The spiritual realm also delivered consequences to those who intentionally opposed your path. This is not revenge. It is divine correction. When a chosen one makes a major leap, heaven separates them from harmful connections. Those who plotted behind your back, spoke against you, drained your energy, spread negativity, or tried to block your purpose are now experiencing the reversal of everything they sent your way. This is part of spiritual law. Whatever energy they attempted to place on you has been redirected back to them, because your rise removed any spiritual permission for them to influence your life. Your growth also exposed people who were quietly competing with you. Some individuals never wanted you to rise because they measured their worth by your stagnation. Your elevation has destabilized that illusion. They now see that the spiritual ranking you carry is not something they can imitate, steal, or outrun. It is something you were born with. And this truth is shaking them internally. They are realizing that your destiny does not threaten theirs, unless they were depending on yours to fail. Let me reveal something powerful. Your unexpected move activated silence in the camp of your enemies. Not because they have nothing to say, but because they are watching. They are observing. They are trying to understand how you did what you did. They are trying to figure out how you shifted so quickly. They are trying to calculate your next move, because your unpredictability has become their greatest fear. They realize you are not who you used to be, and that realization alone is a spiritual blow. Your rise is also affecting people who cared for you but did not truly believe in your calling. Some individuals loved you but doubted your destiny. They didn't oppose you, yet they underestimated you. Your elevation is now correcting their perception. They are seeing the magnitude of your purpose, the depth of your spiritual authority, the weight of your calling. They are beginning to understand why certain things happened in your life, why God separated you, why you grew differently. Your elevation is bringing clarity to them as well. Chosen one, your unexpected move has also impacted those who once took you for granted. They now sense the distance between who you were and who you are becoming. They feel the shift because it affects the spiritual flow around them. They recognize that the access they once enjoyed was a privilege, not a guarantee. And as heaven elevates you, they are being reminded of the value they failed to honor. There is another impact, perhaps the most profound one. Your rise has forced people to confront the truth that God has been with you the entire time. Many people doubted your purpose because they mistook your private battles for weakness. But now, as heaven responds to your growth, it is becoming evident that you were chosen all along. This revelation is humbling to those who misjudged you. Some will be convicted, some will be silenced, some will be inspired, and some will be threatened. But all will be confronted with the undeniable truth of your calling. One more thing, chosen one. Your rise has ignited spiritual curiosity in some individuals. They want to understand what changed in you. They want to understand why your energy feels different. They want to understand how you grew so quickly. They want to understand why heaven favors you. And though not all of them will admit it, many will eventually seek guidance, healing, or clarity because of the transformation they see in you. Your unexpected action did not just elevate you, it altered the spiritual atmosphere around every person connected to you. Some will rise with you, some will fall away, some will watch from a distance, but none will remain unaffected. Your elevation changed everything. What God is preparing for you now. Chosen one, now that the spiritual realm has reacted to your unexpected action, the most important question is this: what is God preparing for you next? Because heaven never shifts without purpose. Heaven never accelerates without direction. Heaven never elevates without intention. Everything that has moved around you, everything that has awakened within you, everything that has been activated above you is leading to something far greater than what you can see right now. What God is preparing for you begins with one word: alignment. You have finally entered the level of spiritual clarity required for the next phase of your destiny. This means God is aligning every part of your life, your relationships, your opportunities, your environment, your mindset, your gifts, with the version of you that just awakened. You will begin noticing that certain doors open easily, while others close abruptly. This is not coincidence. It is divine restructuring. God is removing what cannot walk with you and positioning what must stand with you. Every shift you feel now is purposeful. The second thing God is preparing for you is elevation. Not just elevation in status or position, but elevation in spiritual weight. When a chosen one rises internally, heaven assigns greater responsibility. This responsibility is not a burden, it is an honor. God is preparing to expand your influence, your voice, your impact. You will find yourself stepping into places you once thought were beyond your reach. You will be called into roles that require your maturity, your discernment, and your obedience. This elevation has nothing to do with ego. It is about divine purpose. You are being prepared to carry something that only a spiritually awakened soul can hold. God is also preparing breakthroughs that were once withheld. Some blessings could not reach you earlier because your emotional state, your spiritual awareness, or your environment could not sustain them. Now, because of your unexpected growth, the blessings that were reserved are being released. These breakthroughs will not arrive through struggle. They will flow through alignment. You will experience provision, clarity, direction, solutions, and opportunities that come unexpectedly, yet perfectly timed. This is heaven's way of confirming that you have entered a new season. Another preparation God is putting in motion for you is divine relationships. No chosen one walks alone when stepping into a higher assignment. God is preparing the people who will support you, guide you, learn from you, grow with you, or carry wisdom you need for the next stage of your journey. These connections will not be forced. They will arrive naturally, divinely timed, often when you least expect it. You will recognize them instantly because their spirit will resonate with yours. They will bring peace, clarity, and reciprocity. These individuals are part of your next spiritual chapter, and heaven is aligning them with precision. Chosen one, God is also preparing greater protection for you. As your calling rises, so does the spiritual need for heavenly covering. Because you have stepped into deeper awareness and higher purpose, heaven has surrounded you with new forms of protection. This includes angelic assistance, divine warnings, spiritual barriers, and blocked access for those who could hinder your growth. This increased protection will manifest as intuition, inner red flags, sudden disinterest in certain environments, or abrupt separation from individuals whose energy cannot align with your destiny. These protective measures are signs of God's hand on your life. Another preparation God is making for you is upgraded spiritual gifts. The gifts inside you will begin to sharpen. Your discernment will become stronger. Your intuition will become clearer. Your dreams may become more vivid. Your inner voice will be easier to understand. These upgrades are not random. They are tools for your next assignment. God is preparing you to navigate spiritual realms with wisdom, so you are not blindsided by what you once tolerated or what you once overlooked. The clarity you will receive in this season is evidence of your activated spiritual identity. God is also preparing divine opportunities that match your new level. Doors that were once closed will now respond to your presence. People who once overlooked you will now be drawn to your spirit. Situations that once intimidated you will now align with your authority. These opportunities are not a coincidence. They are a direct result of your spiritual shift. God is positioning you where you belong, not where you were clinging out of habit, fear, or attachment. Your unexpected action freed space for what is truly meant for you. Another powerful preparation God is unfolding for you is restoration. Rest in this. Nothing you lost was wasted. Nothing you gave was forgotten. Nothing you survived was pointless. God is preparing to restore areas of your life that were drained by past battles. This restoration will not simply return what was taken, it will return multiplied. The time, energy, love, clarity, and peace you lost are being returned in forms you never imagined. This restoration will reach your spirit, your mind, your stability, and your emotional strength. God is also preparing visibility for you, not worldly attention but spiritual visibility. Heaven has elevated your ranking, and now your presence will carry weight even in places where you remain silent. People will sense something different about you. Environments will shift when you enter. Spirits will react when your soul steps forward. Your presence will carry authority because it is backed by divine recognition. This visibility will draw opportunities, open connections, and create pathways that were inaccessible before. Let's go deeper. God is preparing inner transformation within you. The version of yourself that acted unexpectedly is now unfolding even more rapidly. You will feel more grounded, more centered, more aligned. Old triggers will lose their power. Old fears will fade. Old memories will stop controlling you. You will feel yourself becoming emotionally whole. This inner transformation is vital because God cannot place heavy blessings on fragile foundations. Your foundation is now being strengthened for what is coming next. Another preparation God is shaping for you is clarity of purpose. Many chosen ones struggle not because they lack purpose, but because they lack clear direction. That is changing now. You will notice clearer guidance. You will feel nudges towards certain actions. You will have sudden realizations about what is meant for you and what no longer aligns with your calling. This clarity is heaven lighting your path. Finally, God is preparing a destiny shift. This is the most profound part. Your unexpected action caused the spiritual realm to accelerate your path. You are not just entering a new season, you are entering a new dimension of your calling. The challenges you faced before will no longer appear the same. The obstacles that once overwhelmed you will carry no power. The blessings that once felt distant will feel near. The spiritual realm is shifting around you, preparing the way for everything God has preserved for this exact moment. Chosen one, what God is preparing for you now is nothing ordinary. It is nothing familiar. It is nothing you have experienced before. It is the fulfillment of spiritual alignment, destiny acceleration, and divine recognition. Your unexpected action didn't just surprise heaven, it activated your future, and God is preparing you to step into it fully. Conclusion: the final revelation you must carry with you. Chosen one, now that you have heard this message in full, you must understand something with absolute clarity. What you did was not small, not ordinary, not accidental. Your action marked a spiritual turning point. It revealed a version of you that heaven has been waiting for, a version of you that carries strength, wisdom, maturity, and spiritual authority that cannot be shaken by your past or controlled by the hands of others. You stepped into a level of alignment that many never reach in their lifetime. You need to carry this truth with you. Your rise was not just noticed by God, it was honored. When a chosen one moves in obedience, clarity, and spiritual awareness, heaven responds, and heaven has responded to you. The acceleration, the protection, the breakthroughs, the restoration, the new clarity you feel, these are not coincidences, these are confirmations. From this moment forward, walk like someone whose destiny has shifted. Move like someone heaven recognizes. Think like someone who carries divine backing. Release the old identity fully. Honor the new version that has awakened. Do not shrink again. Do not apologize again. Do not doubt yourself again. What you did proved that your spirit is stronger than your wounds and wiser than your past. If your heart is sensing it, let this be the final confirmation that your new season has begun. Heaven has already moved. Now it is your turn to walk into what has been prepared. Chosen one, remember this. Even God was moved by what you did. That should tell you everything about who you truly are.